So let's talk about disappointment and you know, some of the frustrations you might come to. Let's say you buy a lens and, oh, you got a camera body picked out and you go. There's a lot of headaches I think you're going to run into if you don't consider a budget for equipment. And I realize when it comes to accessories and equipment, there's a pretty big rabbit hole you can go down, just as much as you could with camera bodies or lenses, but I'm gonna keep it very short and to the point, and I wanna talk about key things like gimbals, for example, or talking about tripods or microphones, even motorized sliders, anything that I think would be instrumental to help you do better work. And also, you know, reignite some of the excitement for it as well. Like there's a lot of things that I didn't buy till a year or two into making videos, and what I found is when you get a new toy, essentially is what it is, it really just, you know, is this sigh of relief. You're kind of like, ah, this is fantastic. You know, it makes it a lot more fun. And anyways, let's get into some of the kit. Oh, it locks up nice. I can just set her down. Yeah, that's pretty nice. So let's start with gimbals. I think camera movement, being able to follow a subject or, you know, chase a subject, just smooth transitions from locations is what makes an amateur-ish looking video, you know, elevate to a professional looking video. There's nothing more frustrating for an audience, especially if they're watching on a larger screen, to see something that's super shaky and makes you kind of nauseous. And just like a drone has sort of that grace of just, you know, this floaty, perfect movement, that's what stabilizers do. And the first stabilizer that I actually bought was the Zhiyun Crane 3 Lab. It's one of the biggest misconceptions, I think, when you're out in the field. You're like, I don't need a gimbal, I can walk and handheld the shot. Or even if you say had like one of those small rig enclosures, like a cage for the camera with the handle, and you just kind of sort of carry it. When you actually look at playback and you see it on a bigger monitor, you really start to notice how bad it looks. And there's a time and a place for handheld. I think the shakiness can give kind of that energy and sense of urgency in a shot. But when you're trying to be graceful with it and, you know, following a subject, or, you know, the focus is on what the object or subject is doing, yeah, I think you need a stabilizer. And they're really not that expensive. You could find even a cheap stabilizer that, and I say cheap because of the motors and their weight tolerance, but you could find a cheap stabilizer for, you know, 700 bucks. And you could put a light camera and lens on it, and now all of a sudden you have this beautiful movement. But what I would recommend, because I've been using them for a number of years now, the DJI Ronin RS3 Pro, man, this is a good stabilizer. I am so impressed. So why the Pro over, say, the RS3? So the thing is, the Ronin RS3 Pro has a weight tolerance capacity of about 10 pounds, meaning that the motors are strong enough to stabilize a heavy camera and a lens setup. What this does is give you a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can mount on here, say like a 24-70 f2.8 zoom lens and a camera body, and even a microphone receiver on top, or, you know, just the tolerance for weight. The Zhiyun, I think, is only about 6.5 pounds or 6.6 pounds, and, you know, once the motor's overheat, it just fails and falls over. So,
got it? Yeah, I got it.
I will say that the build quality of the DJI product versus the Zhiyun product is night and day. The grips feel fantastic. The actual main grip is the battery. There's no individual batteries that you have to remove and charge. I hated that about the Zhiyun. And the controls feel solid. It just, it doesn't take long for you to realize that you're interacting with a higher caliber, higher quality built product. So yeah, definitely been enjoying that because it's something I use a lot. Like anytime you want to move with the camera to, you know, a new location, or you're following a subject like a vehicle or a person walking, like hands down one of the best accessories that you could buy. Just, you know, be prepared. It's going to cost you, you know, $1,400 so something to get into. One thing I'll say that you should avoid, and I made the rookie mistake initially, is you buy these creator combo kits that come with, you know, a ton of accessories. One of the more exciting ones that caught my attention were these sort of servos that can attach to the lens, and they can actually remotely control zoom and focus. I never use them. They take forever to set up. And there's also all these attachments you can add and accessories. Really the only thing you need, bare bones, is you need this pistol grip for like the briefcase handle, and that's it. Maybe this tripod base. Actually, this is a pretty good accessory. It's a handle, and when you want to set it down, it's a tripod base. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So that's really it, is this grip here and this base, which it might even come with it anyways. So anyways, don't buy these huge bundles and stuff unless you really need them. Like I said, I have tons of accessories for the Zhiyun Crane kit that I've used twice. Really all I need is the, you know, the gimbal stabilizer. And then if I power it back on, even from wherever I'm standing, it doesn't matter if I'm like tilted or cockeyed, it'll just automatically calibrate, unlock itself. Ring, done.
Nice.
That's awesome. Another thing that I think is like, thank you DJI for doing this. So the way gimbals work is pretty simple. When you set them up, first time it's gonna throw you for a loop, but it's really not a big deal. So this one's nice, has this kind of detachable plate. Slide it back on. So every stabilizer, you can't just mount a camera and go. Like, you have to stabilize it properly. See how it wants to tilt forward? It's nose heavy right now. And the RS3 Pro has this really nice plate where you can just roll it back on these gears and get it nice and stable there. Perfect. And obviously, looks like we're a little bit lopsided, but we'll adjust this. I had this set up for a different camera. This is the 80D, by the way. That's why it's all over the place. But it's a good example of how quick or cumbersome it is to set these up. Lock that into place. And there we go. Unlock that. And pretty balanced. So when you fire this thing up, the motors already calibrate depending on fluctuations in weight, but this is what really, the first time I used it, I was like, oh, thank you. It doesn't matter how you're holding it, but man, you press the off button and it just locks into place. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but trust me, having to like manually close everything down, and like when you're relocating or hopping in a vehicle or something, yes, that's not the best part. That whole process I went through to set this up, once it's locked in and it remembers what cameras is on here, so you just press and hold it again, and it just boots up just like that. I love that. It saves so much time. You have no idea. Like, so many times I've like, a shot's coming, a car's coming, or someone, you know, you don't say action yet, and then the person runs out, and it's like, well, you're fumbling with this thing. It's so fast to just fire this up and, you know, get rocking. There we go. Yeah. Outstanding. And you know, it really is impressive in terms of battery life, and I haven't even really used a lot of the features, but it can, you know, track and follow. One of the ones I did, because I knew from the DJI Osmo that we have, is the selfie mode. So like, you click 3 times and it just like turns around to face you. If you want to face it back, I always screw this up. It's not 3 times, it's just twice. And then it'll go back around. Like, It's not doing it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, there it is. Very high quality, and I'm so impressed with the Ronin RS3 Pro. Now, mainly what you're going to want is a tripod, and the tripod that I've been using from ProMaster is really good, but there's a lot of different tripods out there, and the main thing that you want to go for is a fluid head tripod, something that when you pan or tilt, there's fluid in the head giving you very smooth motion. And you'd be surprised, like there are certain brands that cost a lot of money, and it's usually just kind of a legacy item that you're paying for. They don't really offer much in the way of additional benefits. ProMaster, I think, is a good line to get bang for your buck. And especially when you think about this tripod with the fluid head that I'm talking about, you're really only spending about $400 for something that you'll use on every professional shoot. And while you might not take it with you everywhere because it's kind of big and has its own bag, it's definitely nice to be making videos with something so stable and versatile. It's yeah, for the price, it's kind of a steal. All of these tools, essentially up until this point, are useful and versatile for practically any type of videography that you're going to be doing. This, on the other hand, this next item is something that you may or may not want to get, but I strongly urge you to consider, and that's the Edelkrone slider. This thing has been instrumental to getting beautiful, nice B-roll, especially for product photography. I don't care if you're filming cars, I don't care if you're filming camera equipment, video games, whatever. I use this slider almost every film shoot that I go on because literally, I did a whole video on this, but it's so fast to set up. And the fact that you can use it in practically any situation, it's so compact and small, just as useful as a gimbal might be. It's something that can take you from looking like an amateur to looking like a professional. The Edelkrone slider, the little rotating head, the little legs that kick out, I did buy those since the last video we did, and that flex tilt head, like, it's one of those accessories I have a hard time, just even like a telephoto lens, you know. It's hard to think about when you would use it, but I'm telling you, if you had it, you would be using it all the time, because I do, and I love it. The other thing that I think is worth getting, definitely, is a 3-axis gimbal for, you know, those stabilized track shots. I think that if you can afford the DJI Ronin RS3 Pro, that's going to be your best bet in terms of investment because of the extra weight tolerance. There's a lot of gimbals that are cheaper, both from DJI and Zhiyun, but what you're going to find is that they cap out at around 5 or 6 pounds in weight tolerance. It's basically going to limit you on the weight capacity you can put on this thing. And it's not that it's a huge deal, but you're going to run into frustrations when, you know, you're out filming, you're trying to capture something, and then all of a sudden it's just like, and dies. You know, the motors overheat and they just can't take the weight. So I think the RS3 Pro is around $1,400. So it's a bit of a touch. Maybe decide whether the Edelkrone slider or that is going to be more your thing, because if you do a lot of product photography, the slider makes more sense. If you're outside a lot and you're filming a lot of movement, then a 3-axis gimbal makes more sense. Anyways, before I close it out, again, huge thanks to the video's sponsor, McBain Camera. If you're looking to buy the equipment or anything that was covered in here, everything that wasn't covered, they carry a ton of different products, so many different brands for accessories and cameras and lenses, and a great place to deal with. And I highly recommend, even just online, you know, buying from their store. It's a great place to deal with. And thank you again to McBain for giving me all these toys to play with to make this video and sponsoring WhyBuy. So anyways, thank you for watching. And if you thought this video was helpful, please like and subscribe, show your support. And well, I'd say thanks for watching, but I just said that, didn't I?